Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today what I'm going to talk you through is our custom fitting process and what we would do in just a general custom fitting. I'm going to use irons as an example, so I'll take you through an iron fitting and sit back, relax. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let's get stuck in. If you're enjoying what you're watching, please hit that like button, please hit the subscribe button, and please don't forget to share the video. Let's have some fun. Enjoy the video. That's a good start. Custom fitting is like a puzzle, and we have to try and fix the puzzle, get to the end of the puzzle by identifying the issue or potential issue with your own clubs, and then rectifying it in a new set. Step one of our process is a consultation phase, where we would have a little conversation and try and identify and get an idea, a picture of your golf game, so that we can then build up a couple of sets of clubs that are going to suit you. We would ask you questions like, do you have any current injuries? Have you had any injuries recently? Where do you play your golf? Do you play other courses? What's your handicap? How often are you getting to play? And what are you looking to get out of a new set of clubs? That's just a few basic questions. There would be more. That's just a few basic questions that would be asked in pretty much every fitting. The next part is a static measurement. We would take your height, take your wrist to floor measurement, and get an idea of, it's not just about how tall you are, it's about how you are tall. You get guys at 6'5" who can play standard length because they've got longer arms. So it's not just based on height. So once we've warmed up, this is when the TrackMan goes on, and we're getting a baseline of what you do with your 7-iron. Because we're looking at an iron fitting, and from the conversation piece, you've told me that you want to hit it a little bit further and have a little bit more consistency potentially. So we take your 7-iron and get a baseline of what you do with that. Then, using your static measurement and that conversation piece, we would build up 3 or 4, maybe even more, but 3 or 4 7-irons that are we think are going to suit you. And through a process of elimination, trial and error, we would then narrow that down. So we're trying to identify the club head using relevant shafts, relevant lie angles, and relevant lofts. Once the club head has been established, we then look at the shaft brand and shaft model. This is where we would decide the flex, weight, so on and so forth. Again, similar to the heads, it's a bit of a trial and error using the information that we already have. So every bit of information leads on to the next stage. So we would then identify the shaft brand, shaft model, flex and weight. Once the shaft has been identified, we would then look at the length of the shaft. How long do we need it to be, or how short do we need it to be? Again, using all the information we have, static measurement, general data from everything, we might think that you need it a little bit longer. Most 7-irons come in at a standard of 37 inches, but you can get 38.5, 36, just depends on what suits that particular player. We want the length of the club to directly correlate to the consistency, and we want the most consistent one there to give you better chance of hitting greens. So we know the length of the club now. Say we're going to go a half an inch longer. So we're playing a 37.5 inch P790. What we want to do now is get the head specs exactly right. So loft and lie. The fitter will have a general idea based on your ball flight. If you need it to fly a little bit higher, if you need it to go a little bit lower, if you're hitting it a little bit left, we would probably flatten that head out a little bit. If you're hitting it a little bit right, we would make that head a touch more upright, just so that we're giving you the best chance of having a consistent strike. Turf interaction is important as well here. And once we know length, loft and lie, we then move on to the next stage. Next stage being grips. We have a conversation about what kind of grips you like, whether it's a rubber, a cord, or just a general Golf Pride Tour Velvet's the most popular. Companies like Mizuno, they don't charge for any other grip, so you've got a plethora of grip options with Mizuno and many other brands do pretty much everything. There might be surcharges in some grips with some manufacturers, but we would use my recommendation combined with your recommendation on grip style and get the right style and size. whether that be standard, mid-size, jumbo, undersize, or maybe just one of the options with a couple of layers of tape. So because it's an iron fitting, we look at the set makeup and whether that's going to be 4 to pitch and wedge, 5 to gap wedge, or 5 to sand wedge with a 60. Where possible, we would hit pitch and wedge. We already have all the 7 irons, 5 iron, maybe a 4 iron if it's what you need. Where that's possible, we have display sets of everything. So we can hit other clubs in the range, we just can't change the shafts, we can't interchange the shafts or lengths or grips. So where possible, we would hit as many of the irons as we can so that we know exactly what we're going to get. And then what we would talk about is gapping. If you don't want a 4 iron, but then from your 5 iron to your 3 wood, we would make a potential recommendation of a hybrid. Likewise with wedges. We want the gapping in the wedges, we want the lofts to be right, we want that to filter in through the irons and then go up the bag. So we would make a few recommendations there. Once the irons arrive, we would then again, if you wanted, we would do a little VIP handover where we can get you some baseline numbers to take out in the course. Just make sure you're hitting everything alright when you pick them up. So listen, thanks for joining the video. Please like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Appreciate all the support. This was just a quick overview of what we would do in a custom fitting, particularly irons. Obviously there's a lot more detail we go into. The conversation pieces are longer than I can cram into a 7.5 minute video. A lot more detail in a custom fitting, but I just wanted to give a quick overview to those who weren't quite sure what was involved. And please share this video on any platform. I'm happy to answer any questions from anyone, and I'll hopefully see you next time. Thanks for joining. That was nice. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. See you next time.